Tice, this is make or break for the Conservatives. We know, I mean, I've never known a budget, frankly, where so much has been leaked in advance. We know about the 2p cut in national insurance. I'm absolutely convinced there's something else up his sleeve. Is it too little, too late?
Oh, far. I mean, this is just break day. It's reaffirmation of the fact that we're in a recession. Let's remind everybody, exactly a year ago, Jeremy Hunt stood up and he said that the plan is working, that it's a budget for growth. He said the OBR was forecasting we would not go into recession. Exactly a year ago they said that. We're now in recession, there's been no growth, and the simple question is, why are these people hijacked and handcuffed to the woefully inaccurate, grotesquely inaccurate forecasts of the Office for Budget Responsibility and the Treasury officials and economists? They all sort of move between each other. I mean, all of their modelling is completely wrong. We're in recession because all of their planning has failed. We need a completely different reset. And that's why we've put forward a plan for growth in our contract that we released a few days ago. You've got to dramatically, you've got to scrap net zero, you've got to stop paying interest on the QE reserves. There's tens of billions of pounds that they could free up in order to give tax cuts. They're tinkering at the edges whilst Rome burns to a cinder.
So we could just remind people, the Office of Budget Responsibility, one of George Osborne's brilliant ideas, set up in 2010. I saw a figure the other day, Richard, suggesting that the OBR's estimates had been wrong over 13 years to the tune of £558 billion. That is unbelievable.
It's such a big number. It's £500 billion. I mean, it's like 20 or 30,000 pounds per adult wrong in the last decade or so. And what that does is, that means that the politicians are making the wrong decisions, the wrong judgments, based on completely the wrong advice. It's the old expression, isn't it? GIGO, garbage in equals garbage out. And that's what we've had. And yet none of them, they seem obsessed with it. Labour Party's Rachel Reeves, she wants to become even more indoctrinated and sort of attached to this Office for Budget. I mean, I'd rename it. I'd rename it the OBI, the Office of Budget Incompetence.
Will you get rid of it?
I think we've got to relook at all these quangos. Frankly, they're not fit for purpose. No. They're not worth the cost. You've got to have a wholesale reset, wholesale reform of the whole economic model. Otherwise, I promise you, we are heading towards disaster, catastrophe, Starmageddon, bankruptcy.
He is not going to cut income tax because it's cheaper to cut national insurance, which means pensioners, many of whom will be dragged into the tax bracket for the first time on their pensions because of the freezing of allowances. Is that a mistake? Should you be cutting income tax and buy more than 2p in the pound?
What they should be doing is they should be lifting the tax threshold up to £20,000 before anybody pays any income tax. And that would help everybody, and that would make work pay. It would get people back into work, off benefits. It would help pensioners. And the way you pay for that, net zero is costing over 30 billion of taxpayers' cash every single year. We've identified that cost, and yet they're all obsessed with it.
If you take all these people out of paying tax, though, Richard, people earning up to £20,000 a year, what ownership do they have?
Well, of course, you're still paying national insurance, right. You're still paying VAT, you're still paying all other duties, you're still paying fuel duty. We would reduce that as well. So people have got significant ownership. But fundamentally, if you don't make work pay, Andrew, then don't be surprised when people don't go to work.
I've got to go to Bev Turner. Before I go back to Bev Turner in Whitehaven, very briefly, what's happening with Lee Anderson? Is he coming into the Reform UK, the Tory MP of this parish? Lee Anderson.
I'm not giving a running commentary with anybody. Any discussions I may or may not be having.
All right,